canonically speaking, the player might be one of the most broken characters in the Kingdom Hearts series. And there's a decent bit of evidence to kind of justify that as well. I mean, I think the player is super strong. Probably competing with the big three in my book. For those of you that don't know, the big three in my book, in terms of power at least in the Cage series, are Sora, Riku, and I'd say Mickey. Those being the three most powerful Keyblade wielders in the series. It's based off of what they have done. You could put Xehanort up there too, I guess. But the player definitely competes with those guys. I mean, the player does reincarnate into Xehanort, who is super duper powerful. So that's one thing by itself. But factor in the recent finale, the player was able to solo Ephemer and Scold. I mean, a lot of people just glance over this, but we did talk about this a little bit in our live streams. I mean, I guess the player did kind of like lose at the end with Ephemer like shooting that beam through them, but that was like more of a last ditch effort sort of thing. I mean, they already lost the fight, the main fight. We got the victory screen at the end and everything. What would have justified the player beating them in this situation would have been if the player had actually gotten possessed by darkness, because we've like fought darkness before and it took all of the union leaders just to not even beat one darkness. So it would make sense for one darkness to defeat, well, two of them. Though the player faked the whole thing. The player didn't get any power amplification from darkness, didn't get any like cool crazy abilities. Like the player faked all of it and just soloed Ephemer and Scold, brought them to their knees, to the floor by themselves. It's honestly crazy when you think about it. And this though, on top of all of the Disney World visits we've been through, beating like countless crazy bosses, but in Key Browser, we did technically survive a fight with all the foretellers. We fought each individual foreteller in Key Browser. Like, that is canon. That's a canon thing that happened. You fight each individual foreteller. Given they probably weren't like using all their power, so maybe they could have defeated player. The player was clearly struggling in those instances, but the player still fought foretellers back to back to back and put up a decent enough fight, even with them holding back, for them to like respect like the player's strength. The player basically being the last Keyblade wielder to almost fall after the Keyblade War before Ephemer and Scold, do come to the rescue and kind of bring them to the data world. The player is just crazy. I wonder if when Nomura is writing this, if he's just thinking about like all the stuff he's making the player able to do. Like, it really is comparable to some of the stuff Sora's able to do. Like the way Sora is able to just walk up to Keyblade Masters sometimes and like compete with them. Even if he has Don and Goofy by his side or has Riku by his side, friends are his power sort of thing. Sora still beats most of these characters, or at least gives them a run for their money, with or without help. And data fights kind of prove it even more too. I mean, Sora's data is able to compete with even stronger data versions of the organization, which is basically just simulating if like, these things were to actually happen. So canonically speaking as well, Sora could probably solo all the organization members, including Xehanort. Probably. I'm not super into like power scaling or anything super crazy like that in KH. I mean, I feel like Kingdom Hearts power scaling is very all over the place because your power is more so tied to your emotions rather than any actual like crazy abilities you have. I mean, those do have a factor in your emotions, like they're more so complements to that character's heart and the power within that character's heart, whether it's consumed by darkness or consumed with light. But there are some KH characters that clearly be doing some amazing and broken things. I mean, I don't know how strong Ephemer and Scold are. I would assume they're pretty powerful or decently powerful. But even without that, the fact that the player is even able to stand up against and help fight things like darkness and stand up against the other foretellers and survive to some extent is impressive. But the player is broken. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to spread that narrative. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer. She's always thinking about it. No more room in this picture for you to fit in. Now she's crying on the phone, telling you she's not good enough for him. When you think that she is